Welcome to Executive Insights. My guest today is Ernest Solomon, Chief Information Officer with LawPro. In this episode, we explore the impact of COVID-19 on bridging the technology adoption gap between industries, the role of IT leadership in fostering collaboration and driving change in a traditional organization, and what Ernest sees as essential technology investments for 2021 and beyond. We also discuss the importance of continuous learning and mentorship for our personal and leadership development. Hi, Ernest. Thank you for joining me today.
Morning, Nasheen. How are you?
Good. You know what's interesting? I was looking back over the years, and I think you've represented 4 industries at our CIO roundtables and 2 of those at our board level discussions, from technology to banking to healthcare and now legal insurance. This experience must have enriched your perspectives. We know for some industries, they're early adopters of technologies, but others are lagging with digital transformation. In your opinion, has the pandemic widened or narrowed the technology adoption gap between industries, and why?
Great question, Nasheen. I would say, considering the experience in those 4 different verticals, and if I look at, kind of a cross-industry dissection, I would say my experience has been surrounded by kind of the 3 archetypes or variations of those transformations. First one being repaint, where there's a minimum investment required to maintain existing operations, digital channels, whether it might be. Then there's a whole view about renovate, where you need substantial improvements, focus on specific areas, and you're going to do like a gradual renovation. And this is where most of the organizations kind of fit in. Um, the rebuild and replace, I think the third, which is the biggest and the largest, I think it's unbearable technical debt, and the pressing need leapfrog forward. Um, the rebuild renovate consists of cloud first strategy, SaaS consumption based models. In our particular case for LawPro, I would say we are in rebuild and replace, and essentially what we are doing is we're replacing the central nervous system, i.e. the core operations, from an heritage to a SaaS based solution. That does require you to have a clear vision and a detailed strategy with a holistic view of what the technology transformation is going to look like. I think each one of these verticals or each one of the industries have adopted technology at different paces. However, looking at the current climate where we are today, I would say they're all now facing the same challenges, the tech transformation, really that connects, enables, and delivers those solutions. It seems that when we were back in February, March, we transitioned off traveling at subsonic speed to supersonic by March or April, where technology transformation is critical for any one of those organizations. The need of having that has driven leaders to make decisions faster, adopt lean operations, digitize processes along the way, and at a much faster pace to ensure business agility. So yes, tech adoption gaps are narrowed, but in some ways that they have widened as well. And just elaborating on that, as we continue to work from office, we shifted to work from home, and now we've shifted to work from potentially anywhere. And as we embrace that, the gap widens because we're not, in front. We're not doing a face-to-face interaction. The end users may be a little bit more less tech savvy. Change is inevitable. Security is critical. Innovation is essential. Leadership is fundamental to the success of that transformation. But I think I would add one today, which is, just based on the recent experience, adoption is crucial.
Very well said. So, for an industry known for its traditional culture and very paper heavy business model, how do you partner with your C suite peers and the business to drive change and innovation at LawPro?
I think, Nasheen, you're exactly right, which is being paper heavy. I was kind of shocked when I joined the organization, but that is a learning. It is a learning of a new industry. From a partnership perspective, it is expected that when you're in a senior role, you are expected to be collaborative, strategic, innovative. But I think what we don't do is how to measure how effective is that partnership and how you've enhanced that stakeholder partnership. uh, you have to become that trusted advisor, not the trusted operator. So therefore, be patient as you go from that operator to the advisor transition. In our particular case, I think I would say is the one thing that, as we embarked on the journey of the transformation, the one thing that I did was observe. I would give one analogy, which is that imagine if you are wanting to go to a specific destination and you require air travel. You know, as a leader in that organization, um, it is critical for you to assess where you are. So, are you in the economy seat, or you're in that flight deck with your CEO, which is you're being strategic and driving those capital investments to get to that destination? So, if we agree that business is the driver and IT is an enabler, the fundamental mindset change has to be business and IT fused together to making it part of that DNA. So that transformation for us, it's holistic. We are making additional efforts to make sure that the fundamental aspects of the transformation, which is the people, is defined, requires an adoption strategy. We go back and relay the value proposition, why and how, and it will impact. And more importantly, build those champions. So that will build a culture of innovation, our continuous improvement and innovation.
Yeah, so really making an effort to observe, to assess, and to align to create that partnership is the key here. Over the past few months, I've spoken with many CIOs who have said that the role of IT and IT leadership has evolved in a big way since the pandemic. I'm wondering if that's the case for you at LawPro. And also looking at 2021 and beyond, what technology investments do you consider as essential for your business?
So Nasheen, great question. I think this statement or this question couldn't be more relevant. I think if I look back from February, March, we traveled as soon as we went from work from home. We traveled 150 miles an hour just to enable the organization to be ability to work from home because we weren't structured that way. We had less technology infrastructure, and today we have enabled the organization to work from home predominantly in every single facet, every single department. There are still some remaining, but we're going to continue to evolve those as well. I think just in the short time, you're no longer the fix-it shop, but you are where tech innovations and use cases are being redefined so quickly. You need to become that advisory to the business partner and all of the functional leaders. So I would say LawPro embarked on a transformation journey in 2019. And as an output, we developed a 3-year plan with 3 key areas in mind. So one was core applications, i.e. modernization of them, workplace modernization and infrastructure. So even with COVID, we continued on the transformation journey in 2020, and we are going to accelerate it further in 2021. And I would say few key investments for us is going to be enterprise mobility management with enhanced security, which drives the enhancement of work from home, increasing productivity. Security is going to be a key focus with unified endpoint management, and identity access management is going to be very critical for us because we are not only implementing the solution for workplace, but also managing the security of our customers as well and keeping that data secure. As I had mentioned previously, that we are changing our core platform from legacy to a SaaS solution, which essentially, it redefines new processes, it digitizes manual processes, it reimagines a whole level of productivity and ensures scalability for the organization for the years to come. As we are tasked to deliver these solutions and work on the technology roadmap, a core focus has to be done on the vendor partner ecosystem as well. A quick learning from me that I would like to share, and as I reflect back, is when we move from Lotus Notes essentially to Microsoft M365 with Outlooks and Teams, and we did it right in the midst of the pandemic, the conversion. I think we need to put a more focus on the technology adoption, whether it might be 1 to 2 minutes, tips and tricks, creating sustainable knowledge management system. I think we got to get to the better adoption, and that will help us increase the ESAT. So not only we need to do the technology initiatives for 2021, but in 2021, we want to put a core focus on the people factor as well, and ensuring that we reduce the gap in user adoption and increased productivity.
What an exciting journey it has been, and ahead of you, Ernest. And, we know that technology is such a big success factor for any business, but so is leadership and leadership development. I'm pleased to have witnessed your personal growth in the last decade. And you always strike me as someone who has a big appetite for learning. And it feels like every time we spoke with one another, you were either getting a degree or finishing another course. For someone who's already in a senior role and a very busy schedule, why do you continue to invest in yourself? And what are your go-to sources for learning new things?
Wow, Nasheen, I think you're making me go back a few years. I think I was doing, I was just a recent grad, and I was doing a Cisco certification or Cisco course. And one of the profs made a statement that kind of resonated and stuck with me till today, which was knowledge is power. And as I grew in my leadership roles, I got an addition to that, which was knowledge shared is power multiplied. And then I would say with recent experiences in a much more senior leadership role, it was applying the knowledge and action as power. So in my career, if I was to summarize, the two key components, leadership and technology, I would say is leadership is a lifelong learning experience. Technology as it moves, we go back at those supersonic speeds, they cause industry disruptions, they change business models. Honestly, there are times even I feel it's hard to keep up at times. So I make sure that I learn from events, I learn from forums, learn from research organizations like memberships to help bridge that gap and learn at a faster pace. But a balanced key approach is definitely, there's one part of the academic learning, read, listen, books, online, Amazon, whatever it might be. But attending those events, perfect example is our CIO roundtables. It gives you that real life learning that comes from only networking. You need to build those partnerships. Personal learning is really, to me, is exercising the mind. It helps me being proactive. It helps us to look at the current trends and then assessing what's the impact to the organization for the future trends. So the best feeling is to continually and consciously develop myself so I can better serve our internal users, our peers, leaders, and also the outside customer base. I guess continue to grow, continue to learn as always.
Well said. Continuous learning certainly is so important for our personal growth. And so is the role of mentorship. Can you talk about the role mentorship may have played in your personal development? And what advice would you offer to aspiring leaders who are interested in getting that top job in technology?
I think this one is very near and dear to my heart. I would say mentorship has truly been one of the key success factors for me as to where I am in the leadership role today. I think many leaders feel that personal development is not required once you get to the C suite or once you get to a VP role or a senior leadership role. However, along the way, what I've learned from many other leaders as well, that every leadership role that you undertake, it defines a new phase of learning. So it comes from the mentor or the coach that you may have. It could be on leadership, it could be on technology, it could be on organization change management. But to really have someone as a sounding board, I think that truly helps. As a leader, I would say, a core aspect is you need to build successful teams. You need to create a common purpose and keep it simple so it can be digested. The more you keep it simple, the more followers and part of the team that they will be to embrace the change. And in that, you know, simplistic approach, if you say, from a personal level perspective, I would say you're only human. I don't think we're operating at a much faster pace. Take time for yourself. Um, Fail fast and learn faster. I think COVID taught that very well, which is if one solution didn't work, how to adopt and leverage a different solution. And I would say, building those teams strictly based on the 3 T's, which is the trust, the transparency, and teamwork. That is truly the fundamental of the engagement. And when I look at this whole new world, which comes with whole new challenges, um, I think the view of the virtual teams and trust is going to be critical. It's going to challenge you as a leader as well. It is your job as a leader, and I continue to work this even with our teams as well, is to provide that calmness, the stability, and the safety as well. Continue to empower your teams to make decisions. That is one thing that I am wanting to change within my team as well. Establishing a trust in those remote organization is even more tougher, but you have to take that positive stride forward. So how we're kind of doing that is the failure will impact us all. So we're really in this together, and we're going to get to the end of the tunnel together. So more importantly, I would say is, on a personal note, be a sponge, continue to learn and adapt. But I was just recently attending an organizational leadership role at Schulich. And while we were having the conversation, we were or I actually put a positive spin on a PPE, and it's a term that we continue to hear on an ongoing basis. And I would say as we continue to tread new waters, the new, personal version is patience, perseverance, and empathy. Just to summarize it.
Well said. Great insights and advice, Ernest. I really appreciate your time today. Thank you very much, and happy holidays to you and your family.
Thank you, Nasheen. Happy holidays to you and your family as well.
Thank you. You've been watching another episode of Executive Insights by the IT Media Group. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, check out other CIO-centric content on our YouTube channel. And don't forget to subscribe.